So you're very welcome back to another video, and in today's one we're going to go through part number 2 of how to design emails using Claude. Now if you saw my last video, we're going to take this a little bit further because now we have available to us a HTML to design plugin, or I should say an MCP connection available in Claude, which means that we can actually go from prompt to design to straight into Figma without even having to leave Claude, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive straight into it. We're going to create an email for a brand that I absolutely love, which is Cernucci. I'm a customer of theirs. I think their marketing is great. So let's just dive straight in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Cernucci itself, and what I'm going to do for this is I'm just going to pick like what we want to send an email for. Now first of all, I'm actually just going to pull their logo, because what we want to do here is actually give Claude a little bit of info to work with, because sometimes what can happen is if you just let it like take the logo itself, it's just going to like make up a stupid like fake one, for example. So what I really like from Cernucci is actually their jewelry. So let's go and create a email for their new jewelry, so for the men's collection. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull their URL, and I think we should be pretty good to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use Whisperflow. I'll chat in, we'll prompt it, and then we'll take it from there. I would like you to design me a beautifully designed HTML email design for this brand. I would like an email pushing this collection to be specific. I want you to not include any M dashes in the copy. I want to make sure that you follow email marketing design best practices. I've also included some examples from Cernucci of emails which I think you can take inspiration from. You don't necessarily have to copy the exact same design style, but what you're going to do here is feel free to just use your own creativity and create a new design style if you want. Okay, so now I have a bit of a prompt in here. Again, it's like it's not a really fancy prompt, to be honest with you. Again, I was just talking into Claude to see like what I came up with. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to pick some reference emails. I actually told Claude that like you don't necessarily have to copy this, it can use its own creativity. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull some of those. Before I go and pull those example emails, what I will say is that what Claude Design is really, well, not Claude Design, but Claude actually in the chat, what it's really good at is it's good at assembling different things. It's not really like ChatGPT where it can actually like generate new images. It's not really good at that. So bear in mind the design feature in Claude, well, at least the HTML email creation is it's more of an assembly rather than like a net new creation, and you'll kind of like understand what I mean when we actually design the email. Now what I will say is that again, it's not going to be as elaborate as a ChatGPT like image generation. It's just going to assemble, so it works really well for a certain type of brand. For example, it works really well for fashion, jewelry, or else brands where the design is kind of like a little bit more blocky in nature. Now I have seen, and I have like, you know, design emails myself where they're a lot more complex. Generally I'll try and use like elements from Claude Design mixed with actually like building the HTML in the chat as well. But anyway, you'll kind of see how it turns out, and then you'll kind of get the gist then. Okay, so now we have the example emails in, and what we're going to do is we're just going to push this through, let Claude do its magic, and then we'll see what the output actually is when it comes. Okay, so sometimes Claude will actually just come back and it'll ask you a few questions as to like what you actually want here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select like, do we want an offer in this? What I'm going to say is we'll just do buy one, get one free. How should product images be handled in the design? Use real Cernucci product photos. Definitely do want to do that. So we'll leave it kind of continue now that we've answered. Okay, so now it's actually came back with the fully designed email. Now what I will say is when you actually view it inside of the chat within Claude, it's going to look a bit weird because the images aren't going to render. So if you just download the HTML file, open it up in your browser, you're then going to see the fully designed email. Here we go. So everything is actually going to be linking back to the link that we would have included as well. So Claude is obviously like very good at just picking up the specific product link, so everything will go out to what it's supposed to. So if we click through here, it's actually going to come to that product, so it's actually pretty good in that sense. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually push this into Figma. Now before, you'd either have to use the Figma MCP, and typically it would take a little bit of time, but now what you can do is actually use the HTML to design MCP. So if I go into my connectors, HTML to design, it's basically a plugin that you set up inside of Figma. So if we come over here, it's the plugin HTML to design. You can set up the MCP here, connect it to your Claude account, and that's what we already have done. So that's just like the key part that you need to get here so we can get this into Figma ASAP. So what we're going to do now is we're going to proceed with the push, and then I'll kind of show you the finished piece. Okay, so now the email is actually in the Figma file. So what the HTML to design MCP has done is it's moved it straight from Claude into Figma. We didn't have to even leave Claude, which is pretty cool, to be fair. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over to the Figma file, see the import is completed here, and now we have the design itself. Personally, I just hate when it's in these boxes, to be honest. I just prefer when it's like just no background so I can see like the full design. But you can see here that everything is like fully editable. You can actually even push this directly into Klaviyo as well, which I can actually do as a little bonus section here in a few seconds. But you can see everything is fully editable, so it's pretty ideal, to be fair. Now you might want to update like the font styling potentially, but everything is looking pretty clean. It's got the products bang on, had the links of course when we checked them a while ago bang on. So not a bad design overall. pretty solid. I think the logo is obviously not the correct one, but we can obviously, of course, change that. Now, if you wanted to push this straight into Klaviyo, what we can do now is show you an example of that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go back into Claude and we're just going to tell it, simply push this into Klaviyo. Now, what I've done is I've actually connected a test account that we have to the Klaviyo MCP, so that is the account it's going to push into. Obviously, in your case, you will just connect your own Klaviyo account. Can you please push this HTML design into Klaviyo using the MCP? So now what we're going to do is we're going to push that prompt through. Okay, so now the Klaviyo MCP has actually finished pushing the design into Klaviyo, so now we have that actually ready to go. What it normally does is it normally pushes it into the template section of Klaviyo. Sometimes when you check it, it might actually render the HTML code, but what you need to do is actually create the campaign or create the flow, and then you'll be able to see the full design as intended. So when I come over to Klaviyo, if we just come back in, we'll see that everything is actually fully editable. So even the images on the products have the full alt text, it has the correct link, and everything is pretty much good to go, good to send straight out to the list. And that pretty much wraps up how you literally go from prompt to design to Figma if you want to make further edits, or to Klaviyo if it's good to go and you want to ship it straight away. Hopefully you found this video useful, and if you want to learn a little bit more about how to implement AI systems, especially using Claude for your business, click the link down below in the description to book in a chat with myself, and we'll put a plan in place for your brand. And if you do want access to some of my resources and free guides, click the link down below in the description and you'll be able to see plenty of them there. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.